get Kerala elections, this could put them in trouble nationally otherwise.
Now, when it comes to Kerala, you also need to understand the state will go into elections. So, yes, nationally they have to consider things, but at the same time they have to look at the elections also. What they have been saying is that we have not sought anyone's support, and if somebody is saying that they will support us, why should we say no, we don't need your support? So that is something which the Congress has been saying time and again when it comes to the support that has been given by the Jamaat-e-Islami, or that was a defense that they have been taking. But now, with one of their leaders, with one of their state leaders coming out in the open, reiterating this stand, it will be difficult for the Congress to give explanations over this. So we'll have to wait and watch what the Congress will come out and say. But they will also be looking at the state equations and at the election equations, because in 2 months' time, it's not like it's further down the road. In 2 months' time, the state is facing an election, and the Congress-led UDF is hoping to come back to power. So that is something which is going on. So they will be looking into all these considerations. But definitely this statement has put the Congress leaders in the defensive, in the dock right now. They really need to discuss and figure out how they will be going to come out and make a statement over this.
Absolutely. This will, of course, put a long-term strategy of the Congress party in question. It's one thing to want to win elections, but quite another to take support from an outfit that is wanting to establish an Islamic Republic in India. Neetu, thanks a lot for joining us.
Mr. President, this is Chandra. She comes from India. Can you give us an update on the India-US trade deal?
First of all, I have great respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and friend of mine, and we're going to have a good deal.
He spoke to your channel and he said very clearly, Modi is a great man. I respect him tremendously, a fantastic man. He's a friend of mine, and we'll have a great deal.
You know, though it was just 2-3 sentences, what he said was significant. So perhaps we are closer to a deal than ever before. But clearly, he had very good things to say about Prime Minister Modi.
US President Donald Trump expressed confidence on a good trade deal with India and called Prime Minister Narendra Modi a fantastic leader and a friend of his. All of this is an exclusive response to money control. President Trump praising Prime Minister as a good friend and said that a good deal will be worked out soon. He at least expressed confidence that the deal is on its way.
Mr. President, this is Chandra. She comes from India. Can you give us an update on the India-US trade deal?
First of all, I have great respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and friend of mine, and we're going to have a good deal. Thank you. First of all, I have great respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and friend of mine, and we're going to have a good deal. Thank you.
So clearly, Donald Trump responding exclusively to Network 18 and giving one of the most important hints that is possible right now as far as the uncertainty over the India-US trade deal is concerned. He's continuing to express not just great confidence in Narendra Modi as a friend, as a good leader, but also as far as the deal itself is concerned.
This is significant and, it was very unexpected, but we had to take our shot. So we were waiting with the other foreign press and, he was just walking by. So we just took our shot and luckily he responded. I think, though it was just 2-3 sentences, what he said was significant. He said, look, I have tremendous respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and a friend of mine. We are going to have a good deal. Now, this is important because this comes just 2 weeks after, remarks by Howard Lutnick went viral, where he said the trade deal is stalled because Modi did not pick up the phone and speak to Trump. So the fact that Trump is saying that we are going to have a good deal will certainly calm the markets it will reassure investors because sectors like textiles, engineering goods, gems and jewelry, all of them have been hit hard by peak tariffs. So perhaps we are closer to a deal than ever before. But clearly, he had very good things to say about Prime Minister Modi. Essentially, he started at 2:30 and he went on and on and on, as you were watching, right? He covered everything from the Fed chairman to Venezuela to Greenland to Denmark to Emmanuel Macron. And, there was visible exhaustion in the room because he overshot his limit by at least 15 minutes. And then there was a fireside. So I was just walking around the Congress Center to figure out, where all the foreign press is stationed. Because, in previous interactions, I've noticed that President Trump is pretty open to taking questions from the press. So I thought, why not, just take my shot? And luckily, there was no other Indian journalist there. It was just a crush of foreign press, countries from China, Norway. So I just sort of hustled my way into a corner. So we were told that when president exits, so the Norwegian journalist told me that typically when the president exits the main hall of the Congress Center, he will go up this grand staircase, that you see, because he likes a shot of himself on top of the grand staircase. So three of us positioned ourselves right at the corner of that grand staircase. And I knew that I would just have 5 seconds. So I had just one question to ask. And I ensured that I said from India so that, he stopped because it was a different press. Because as soon as he entered the room, there was a crush of reporters. Everyone went on Greenland, NATO, EU. So, it was all the European press. So just when he came to the balustrade, just as he was climbing the staircase, I just said, Mr. President from India. So then he just stopped and I asked him, can you give us an update on the Indo-US trade deal? Because, that's the one question. We don't care about what's happening with Greenland and Denmark and Iran and so on. As far as India, US is concerned, it is the trade deal.
Also getting in a Congress reaction to money control exclusive interview with Trump. Party leader Rashid Alvi criticizing Prime Minister Modi for lacking foresight. Alvi says that while Modi considers every head of state in the world to be his friend, when they insult him, he goes silent. Listen in.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री हैं। अगर उनकी बेइज्जती होती है तो पूरे देश की बेइज्जती होती है। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री के अंदर दूरदर्शिता नहीं है। प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप लगातार न सिर्फ ये कि उनकी बेइज्जती कर रहे हैं, चाहे वो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हो, चाहे हमारे भारतीयों को जंजीर में बांध के भेजे गए हों, और चाहे कहा हो कि मोदी साहब की जिम्मेदारी है कि मुझे खुश करें और पाकिस्तान को हमारे बराबर में खड़े करते हैं। मुझे नहीं मालूम कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री किस लिए खामोश हैं और किस लिए डरे हुए हैं।
Pallavi Ghosh, my colleague, is also joining us. Pallavi, not just Rashid Alvi, we've seen a lot of online reactions by Congress leaders and Congress supporters as well, basically still maintaining that line that somehow Narendra Modi hasn't stood up to Donald Trump. But if you look at the way things are going, not just this interview and the statement of Donald Trump, the way all of US's allies are now behaving or are at the receiving end of Donald Trump and American policies, many experts feel India actually withstood that onslaught much better. So is the Congress criticism kind of stuck, in politics more than anything else?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think the Congress's reaction is also based on what the concept of taking revenge is concerned. Remember, in 2014, when Narendra Modi first came to power, he came on the plank of the UPA government being extremely weak, not standing up to the powers that be. Despite the fact that the Prime Minister has repeatedly shown that India does and has stood up to the world, the Congress party now wants to take revenge on that and peddle this narrative that at least as far as the Indo-US trade deal is concerned, the Prime Minister has been extremely weak-kneed, which is why they completely want to ignore what Donald Trump told Chandra and money control. They completely want to reject the fact that he has repeatedly made the point that he does respect the Prime Minister. He thinks the Prime Minister is a very tough negotiator and India is going to get a trade deal which is going to be suitable for both the countries, because the Congress wants to project the Prime Minister as someone who's weak, and especially Donald Trump's earlier comments where he claims falsely that he brokered brokered the ceasefire between India and Pakistan is always brought up by the Congress party. But the fact that the deal is taking such a long time, the fact that India has not hurried up with the deal and we have looked at for counter strategy, Shivani, just goes on to show that we have stood up. So the facts actually completely reject these lies or allegations coming in from the Congress party. But as Rashid Alvi's response goes on to show, he's certainly not, the Congress is not convinced or enamored by what Donald Trump had to tell us.
Yeah. Pallavi, thanks a lot for joining us.
Mr. President, this is Chandra. She comes from India. Can you give us an update on the India-US trade deal?
First of all, I have great respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and friend of mine, and we're going to have a good deal.
He spoke to your channel and he said very clearly, Modi is a great man. I respect him tremendously, a fantastic man. He's a friend of mine and we'll have a great deal.
You know, though it was just 2-3 sentences, what he said was significant. So perhaps we are closer to a deal than ever before. But clearly he had very good things to say about Prime Minister Modi.
Well, political sparring has spilled onto the sporting field as well after Congress leader Shashi Tharoor praised Indian head coach Gautam Gambhir. He took to X and called his role the hardest job in the country after the Prime Minister's. Tharoor also added that both positions demand constant decision-making under intense public scrutiny. Gautam Gambhir has also responded, thanking Tharoor but pushing back against ongoing debates around his authority as a coach. Without naming critics, Gambhir said he is amused at being pitted against his own team, adding that when the dust settles, truth and logic will become clear.
जो उन्होंने लेटेस्ट पोस्ट किया है, अब पता नहीं कांग्रेस उस पोस्ट से कौन से पॉइंट पर ट्रिगर हो जाए कि थरूर जी नागपुर में थे उससे ट्रिगर हो जाए, या नागपुर में थे तब गौतम गंभीर से मिले उससे ट्रिगर हो जाए, या गौतम गंभीर से मिलते हुए उन्होंने पोस्ट कर दिया कि गौतम गंभीर जी का काम सेकेंड मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट जॉब है आफ्टर प्राइम मिनिस्टर, क्योंकि हर रोज इन दोनों ही कामों में, प्राइम मिनिस्टर के काम में या गौतम गंभीर जी के काम में, उनके ऊपर कई सारे सवाल उठाए जाते हैं और उनका इशारा जाहिर सी बात है कांग्रेस पर है। जब भी पार्टी हित या देश हित की बात की है और परिवार हित की बात नहीं की है, तब उनको साइडलाइन किया गया।
Pallavi Ghosh continues to be with us. Pallavi, certainly Shashi Tharoor knows the kind of reactions that his post will elicit, and it's almost like he's teasing his own party at this stage.
Oh yes, he's saying something which I'm sure the Congress party will definitely not like. But he's, of course, apart from being a cricket or a sports buff, he also is known to speak his mind, and he has often gone on public platforms to say that, you know, one must have a life beyond the political party you belong to. What is the truth has to be said. In this case, not only has he staunchly defended Gautam Gambhir, he's gone on to say something which is going to make the Congress leaders extremely unhappy, and saying that he has one of the toughest jobs. The Congress has been very dismissive of the Prime Minister as the Prime Minister of the country, and it's someone who works very hard. And, you know, just recently we did see a lull as far as the confrontation or the friction between the Congress and rest of Shashi Tharoor is concerned. I mean, he had posted a post on the social media platform X to say that all those who had been accusing him of distancing from the Congress have been proved wrong, because he took part in a planning meeting in Wayanad. Many of the Congress protests inside and outside the parliament, Shashi Tharoor has been taking part. He also has represented the Congress party in Lok Sabha, speaking on, say, the debate on the G Ramji bill. So there seemed to be a thawing of ties between the two, but I don't know what turn this could take, because for now the Congress wants to go slow on him because of the Kerala elections. But of course there's a sense of discomfort, anger, that why are you praising that one man who all of us are opposed to?
We'll leave it at that. Pallavi, thanks a lot for joining us. Moving on, we're getting some breaking updates. There is suspense that continues over just who will be Mumbai's next mayor. Sources are telling CNN News 18 that the next mayor could well be a woman. Sources suggesting that the next mayor could be chosen from women's open category. Remember, the Devendra Fadnavis-led BJP and Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena were the front runners as far as the mayoral, BMC elections are concerned. They do have the numbers in the house, although a mayoral election will be held, and sometimes it can people can vote away from party lines as well. But there has been some suspense over exactly which party the mayor will come from. Will it be BJP or will it be Shiv Sena? One thing that is becoming clear though is that a woman could be selected. Mayuresh, my colleague, is joining us with more. Yes, Mayuresh, tell us. We'll connect with Mayuresh in just a bit, but what CNN News 18 is learning is that the next mayor could well be a woman from the women's open category. In fact, if you look at the BMC elections that were held recently, there were actually more female candidates than male candidates on its 277 wards. Suspense continues over who will be the next mayor, not just from which party, but also who would be interested in what is a very important position. Even though chairman of the standing committee, many argue, has more say and more sway, but the Mumbai mayor position is also one that attracts a lot of political weightage, which is why negotiations have been going on between the two alliance partners as well. Mayuresh is back with us. Yes, Mayuresh, tell us more of what you're learning.
Absolutely. The draw for mayor post has just happened for 29 corporations, and for Mumbai, now the mayor will be from open category, and that will be the women. But Shiv Sena UBT has taken the, basically they have taken the objection for this kind of process. They said that the rotational process should have been followed, which was followed for other 28 corporations. And according to the rotational process, the open category women should not be given a chance. The chance should have been given, or the reservation should have been given, is basically about the SC or OBC women from that particular category for the post of the mayor. But the state government is of the opinion that we have followed the procedure, and this particular draw was shown live on the TV, so there is no chance of a manipulation. All right, Mayuresh, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining us. Time for a very short break. Stay with us. News and updates continue on CNN News 18 in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Heem Kaursar, and here's what we're tracking for you right now. CNN News 18 exclusive that we're bringing for you. Big government versus governors rift that's brewing in Karnataka. Karnataka government is mulling approaching the Supreme Court constitutional bench if the governor does not turn up for the joint legislators session by 11:15 a.m. Government sources say that in the eventuality of the governor abstaining from the special session, a legal battle will begin between Karnataka state government and the governor of Karnataka. Karnataka governor wanted a reference to Manrega removed from the speech. Karnataka government has refused to change it. So that's really what is at the heart of this entire issue. For more on this, we have Harish live with us. Harish, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on this broadcast. What can you tell us? What's really happening here for the benefit of our viewers?
Well, remember, this is a special session that has been called where the state government wants to perhaps have a campaign, or at least tell the people about the union government revoking Manrega Act, and perhaps pass a resolution in the House. And since this is the first session of the calendar year, the law requires the governor to address the joint session. Now, there's a speech that has been written by the state government and given to the governor, just like every joint address that the governor does to the assembly. Now, the speech is the problematic area. The state government has mentioned about Manrega being revoked, what it means for the people, and the governor has sought removal of a certain paragraph where this reference to Manrega Act is there. The government is not willing to drop the paragraph, it's willing to alter it. The governor is not happy with that. That's why you're looking at a logjam of sorts between the governor and the government here. Now, sources within the Karnataka government are telling us that if the governor eventually doesn't turn up for this joint session, then they will have no other option but to approach the Supreme Court. And that will be a constitutional logjam as well. If the governor turns up, he has two options, just like what we've seen in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Either he can start with the national anthem and then prefer not to read the speech and leave the assembly for the joint session, or he can alter the speech given by the state government, something that we've seen happening in Kerala earlier in the week.
Absolutely, Naresh, to that. And I wanted to ask, of course, if this escalates into a full-blown legal battle, what happens then and what's going to be the political ramifications of that?
Well, the state government will approach the constitutional bench, and then perhaps the Supreme Court will have to once again hear the case. Let's not forget, just a few months back, there was a crucial order by the Supreme Court on the role of the governor and how they deal with certain bills sent to them and how long can they sit on it, whether they can decide, whether they can send it for presidential reference on these aspects. But not too much was said about the joint session. We will have to see if the Supreme Court will talk about it. In the first place, if this matter will reach the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, because that would be the extreme step that both parties will take. Perhaps the feeling or the sense one gets after talking to people within the governor's office is that perhaps governor will turn up for this session. Will he read the speech? Will he alter the speech? That's something we'll have to see. Perhaps that will become clear around 11 o'clock today.
Absolutely. It's that 11:15 a.m. deadline that we are looking at. And of course, tension appears to be palpable at this point. And going forward, what happens, that's something that remains to be seen. For more on this, we're right now being joined by Mr. Ashok Gaura, BJP. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast, sir. How do you assess what's happening here?
The Karnataka government has to write the factful points.
Hello and welcome to Simply South. I'm Harish Upadhyaya. Time to look at all the major stories emerging from across South India. We begin with Karnataka. In fact, after Tamil Nadu and Kerala, it's the turn of Karnataka to witness a political showdown between the governor and the government. It played out during the joint legislature session that was called today, where Governor Thawarchand Gehlot refused to read out the speech prepared by the Karnataka government and cleared by the cabinet. In fact, the governor refused to read the speech portions critical of centre over the contentious new Ghee Ramji scheme, following which he abruptly concluded his speech and left from the house. Ruckus and chaotic scenes played out inside the assembly even as Congress MLC and MLAs flared up in anger. Congress MLC BK Hari Prasad even tried to block the governor from exiting the assembly hall.
ರಾಜ್ಯಪಾಲರು ಅವರು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ಓದಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಏನು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಸಚಿವ ಸಂಪುಟ ಏನು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಭಾಷಣ, ಆ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತು ಜಂಟಿ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ ಕರೆಯಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ವರ್ಷ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಜಂಟಿ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ ಕೂಡ ಕರೆದಿದೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಭರವಸೆ ಯೋಜನೆ ಅದನ್ನು ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಪೀಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿ.ಬಿ. ಜಿ ರಾಮ್ಜಿ ವಿ.ಬಿ.ಜಿ. ರಾಮ್ಜಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. His Excellency Governor has done today is right. He has taken the right decision. He has done his duty. Whereas the ruling Congress government insulting governor is not correct. Ruling party MLA, MLCs trying to attack His Excellency is totally unconstitutional. So I demand Honorable Chief Minister Siddaramaiah should seek apology regarding the attitude of the ruling MLA and MLCs, and he should also take strict action. Speaker also should also look into the matter. He should take action against those MLA and MLCs who are trying to stop and who are trying to attack governor. Secondly, why this situation has arisen in Karnataka today?
CNN News 18's Afreen Hussain now joins us from Vidhan Sabha. Afreen, on the one hand, you have the Chief Minister saying that the Governor's Act is against the Constitution, while the BJP saying that the Congress government wanted to target the Union government using this particular speech.
Inside the legislature today as Governor Thawarchand Gehlot left after delivering a brief address of just 2 lines on the first day of the joint session, after which we witnessed that there was an extreme amount of chaos that went down. The governor, remember, had expressed reservations about the 11 paragraphs in the speech prepared by the Congress government for him to read out, which included strong criticism of the central government for introducing the VBG Ramji Act. Now, responding to the governor's walkout and a brief 3-line speech, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has condemned the action and has said that it is a violation of the Constitution. He's also said that the governor has acted as a puppet of the central government, and to cover up their mistakes, the central government has made the governor read a speech that they prepared, which is a violation of the Constitution. On the other hand, the BJP has alleged that the Congress has insulted the governor, and we saw that a lot of MLCs and MLAs tried to, stop the governor from leaving the legislature. Now, the BJP has asked the Chief Minister to take action against the MLAs and MLCs who were standing in the way of the governor. And also, the Congress party has called for a meeting on January 28 to discuss the governor's 3-line speech and also the many issues that the opposition are going to raise in this particular session.
Yes, absolutely. Stay with us, Afreen. In fact, the Congress now is saying that even if the government wanted to target the union government using the speech, the governor should not have gone against the Constitution. He should have gone ahead with the speech cleared by the cabinet. That's the argument that Rizwan Arshad, the Congress leader, mentioned while speaking to CNN News 18. Sir, the governor deciding to skip the whole speech and just saying that he's happy to address the House and leaving. How do you see this, sir? Perhaps unprecedented for the Karnataka Assembly.
Karnataka Assembly had never seen these kind of things. And governor stooping to this level under the pressure of the BJP and the Modi government is very unfortunate. The BJP will try and weaken the democracy to this level is what is should not have been done.
Will you pass a resolution now?
Of course, he has violated the constitution. He has thrown the procedures to the wind. He has weakened the democracy under the BJP's pressure. Definitely, we will work out all the options.
Congress government, they are pressurizing governor to speak against the central government, Narendra Modi government. But Congress people, their own Congress agenda to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, give the message to Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, we are fighting against Modi. Please retain me as a CM in Karnataka. That is the Siddaramaiah trick. But I request the Honorable Governor, don't please, you are a bridge to central and state government. Narendra Modi government doing a good work regarding G Ramji.
Well, staying with Karnataka, a worrying case of sexual harassment has now come to light from the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, this involving a foreign national. In fact, this particular incident took place on the 19th of this month, where the woman had arrived at the KIA to travel to Korea, and after completing immigration formalities, her airport staff allegedly approached her on the pretext of checking her flight ticket and check-in baggage. The accused allegedly claimed that there was a beeping sound from her bag and told her that a detailed check at the counter would delay her flight. He then took her near the men's washrooms, stating that a personal check was required, and under the guise of a security check, the accused allegedly touched the woman's chest and harassed her and sexually assaulted her. The woman immediately lodged a complaint with the airport security authorities, and in fact, acting on that particular complaint, now one person identified as Afan Ahmed, an airport staff member, has been arrested. In fact, further investigation is underway in this case. In fact, the complainant in this case, the victim, Kim Sung-kyung, is joining us on the show today. Ma'am, if you could elaborate on what exactly transpired at the Bangalore International Airport.
After immigration check, the guy came to me and asking my flight ticket and identify my name and everything, and tell me that my check-in luggage making a sounds like a bombing, like a tick beep beep. So he want me to join the personal check, and I agree. And after TSA check, he asked me to at the first near the TSA gate, he starts like a normal TSA check with my bag like this. But when people notice, he asked me to move the place, and then we went to some zero grounds C7 gate, and she said I should sit somewhere the last, and he will join. And then after I grab some seat, he going to men's washroom area and then asked me to come through his hand gesture. And I went there, and he asked me to kind of command me to T-shape standing, and he starts inappropriate things, and that was what happened in the airport.
Ma'am, at any point in time, did you ask about the absence of a female security personnel during this whole alleged security check?
No, he say, I'm sorry for that. I'm the boy, I'm the man, but doing this. But hope you understand this is security purpose. So I was trust him because since it's like a terror, serious issues.
In fact, at what point did you feel that something was off, something was wrong here?
While he's checking my body, the way he grabbing my chest, weird way, and the last minute he suddenly hugged me and then say thank you. So I was realized this is totally wrong and not even formal way to check. So that time I was realized.
In fact, when you raised this complaint, how did the airport authorities respond to you, ma'am?
So first time I listened to the Singapore Airlines staff first to discharge and then reporting the police office. And then they are escorting me to the airport authority, and they are very helpful and trying their best to find him and the every process feel not insecure.
In fact, if there is one thing that you think that needs to change at airports, especially foreign travelers, what is it, ma'am?
What I'm learning is that if the staff have a such a important authority, doesn't necessarily mean that we can, they can be having an error in the big system when it's come to national security. So yeah, that's what I'm learning.
Well, a really unfortunate incident, ma'am. Thank you for speaking to us. Hopefully, the airport authorities will ensure that the whole process will be tightened and no passenger has this kind of experience ever. Thank you for speaking to us. Well, shifting focus away from Karnataka, remember, we've seen what's happened in Sabarimala and at the same time what's happened in TTD, Tirupati. And this is when India's holiest shrines face allegation of corruption and faith itself now comes under scrutiny. The question we are asking goes to the heart of faith and accountability. How did alleged corruption creep into India's most revered temples? From claims of systematic gold pilferage at Sabarimala to the shocking discovery of toxic adulteration in Tirupati's Laddu Prasadam, the trust of millions of devotees stands shaken. These are not just administrative failures, they raise disturbing questions about the safeguarding of sacred traditions. When devotion is allegedly exploited for profit, faith itself is put on trial. In fact, over the last few weeks, we've seen the controversy around Sabarimala, and this time around, more information now trickles in the Tirupati Laddu scam controversy. In fact, it's CNN News18 exclusive. The SIT has completed its investigation in the Tirupati Temple Prasadam adulteration case, and as per sources, the probe agency had found massive adulteration in the ghee used for the sacred offering. According to the report, the purity of Laddus, considered holy by millions of devotees, was compromised on a large scale. In fact, the investigation points to systemic irregularities and deliberate adulteration, while the charge sheet is expected to be filed soon in this particular case. Remember, there was a huge controversy when it came to light that the ghee that was being used in the Tirupati Laddu was adulterated, and now CNN News18 has accessed details about the investigation, and according to sources, the probe agency has found massive adulteration in the ghee used for making of these laddus. Remember, these laddus are given as prasadam to lakhs of devotees who visit Sabarimala Tirupati every day. In fact, according to this report, the purity of the laddu was compromised at a large scale. This was not just minor adulteration. The SIT has found that this particular adulteration happened at a very large scale. The investigation is also pointing towards how this entire adulteration was deliberate, was done in a very systematic manner. In fact, now the expectation is that the SIT will be filing the charge sheet soon in this particular case. We've already seen raids that took place at multiple places, including on Bole Baba Dairy and various others who were involved in this entire supply chain. CNN News 18's Arunima now joins us for more on this. Arunima, clearly this particular probe showing how this adulteration nexus was done in a very systematic manner and happened at a large scale. It wasn't just one of the supplies having adulterated ghee, but it was done at a very large scale.
Yes,
initially it was suspected that the ghee was adulterated, but the SIT in its probe has found that there was barely any ghee used. 80% of the prasadam was being made with chemicals. Yes, there were allegations, political slugfest, alleging that perhaps animal fat or animal waste was also mixed with the prasadam, but scientific tests like DNA, etc., carried out by the SIT have found no evidence to back that claim. But nevertheless, it was playing with the faith of people, devotees who thought this was prasadam that was given to the deity, made with best quality of ghee, made with best quality of cardamom, cashew and other things. It turns out that the worst grade possible of ingredients were used, 80% chemicals which could have endangered health and safety, and all of this was being done not for a limited period but at least over 3 years if not more. SIT in its investigation has also found, as per sources, that some of the samples which were rejected at the point of distribution of the prasadam, the rejected samples also were brought back through a circuitous route and then distributed to the devotees. That's the extent of corruption we are talking about.
Absolutely. Stay with us, Arunima, because the other big temple in South India is the Sabarimala temple in Kerala, and that too is under scanner in a different scam. In fact, fresh revelation now coming in about the gold theft scam in Kerala indicates that the Enforcement Directorate has uncovered a systemic pilferage of sacred artifacts spanning several years. In fact, raids across Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka have recovered incriminating records, including mazars and official papers that deliberately showed gold artifacts as copper, and documents seized also reveal that invoices and payments made to private jewelers for gold extraction between 2019 and 24. And now this puts the Travancore Devasam Board in the dock. Remember, the ED has already frozen properties of the accused worth 1.3 crore rupees and has also seized a 100-gram gold bar from a Chennai-based firm. In fact, Arunima continues to be with us. Arunima clearly indicating how this entire scam took place between 2019 and 24, and different people involved in this scam who are in multiple states, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka and even in Kerala.
And the Enforcement Directorate started off on the premise that this scam was limited to gold pilferage. But it now turns out, and this is what ED suspects, that the rot runs far deeper. Even the daily offerings being made by the devotees was being pilfered away. 2-3 important points after 21 locations were searched by Enforcement Directorate. One, they found that even official records, you have to maintain official records, which is like a affidavit or a legal document, when an artifact is moved out of the temple premises. Even those were fudged. Gold artifacts were deliberately shown as copper, so that in records, the missing artifacts or the missing weight of the gold could never be ascertained in regular audit. That was the level of fraud with which it started off. Then invoices, receipts, when these jewelers got into this conspiracy allegedly, fake invoices, fake receipts were added to the records to keep the entire process of pilferage away from the eyes of auditors. A 100-gram gold bar has been recovered from Chennai from one of the front companies which was allegedly used for laundering a property worth 1.3 crore rupees. The entire amount ED suspects was laundering being done of the ill-gotten wealth. All of these have been seized at the moment. You could see more summons, more arrests in the coming days, because now ED is looking at the board also. Members of the board, ED suspects, were hand in glove for destroying the faith of people, of pilgrims.
In fact, that's been the concern even by the opposition in Kerala, Arunima, that a lot of people in the Travancore Devasam Board perhaps were aware of it, were hand in glove in this entire scam, and just going after a few low-rung officials is not something that will take this entire investigation to logical conclusion.
Yes, and the Enforcement Directorate coming in could mean more trouble for the board officials as well. We all know Kerala is seeing an election in just about 2 months from now. Sabarimala has a very has a place of a lot of faith as far as people are concerned. We all know how going to Sabarimala entails changing your lifestyle, even your attire, your eating habit. Everything has to go through a process of change before you can make that pilgrimage. And when devotees are doing so much to feel that spiritual connection, somebody playing with their spirituality, somebody playing with their faith will be a big political issue. So the state government will try to damage control. The SIT is already doing its own probe as far as corruption charges are concerned. But Enforcement Directorate coming in, it's a central agency. We have seen how any central agency, be it ED or CBI, coming in an opposition state has led to more political tutu meme. So this could be one more instance. But behind all this, if the faith of people is restored in Sabarimala and the affairs being run to their best interest, I think it will come out, it will ultimately be appreciated by the devotees.
Absolutely, and the fact that the prime accused in this case has got bail in one of the cases perhaps doesn't mean much, because now the ED heat will increase on Unnikrishnan Poti. Thank you, Arunma, for joining us with all those details. Shifting focus to Andhra Pradesh now, in an interesting announcement, Andhra Pradesh Minister Nara Lokesh has spoken in Davos and indicated that the Andhra Pradesh government is considering a ban on usage of social media by children under 16 years, in fact, in the state. Discussing the issue, Minister Lokesh revealed that the Andhra Pradesh government is studying the Australian model to ban children under the age of 16 from accessing social media, and has noted that youngsters below a certain age should not be on such platforms, as they do not fully understand the content they are exposed to, and that a strong legal framework may be required to implement this decision in Andhra Pradesh. CNN News 18's PV Ramana now joins us for more on this. Ramana, we've seen this happening in other countries. We've seen Australia taking a firm stance on this. Now, for the first time, an Indian state is considering a ban on usage of social media by children under 16 years.
Yeah, Harish, as you said, the Andhra Pradesh government is deeply thinking over to ban the social media platform for the children under 16 years. Now, Lokesh, AP IT Minister Lokesh is in Davos while he was discussing with the delegates over there. He met some of the Australian delegates. Meanwhile, he is discussing about the banning the social media platform in the state itself, because Australia is already implementing. He discussed about pros and cons about the particular issue, how to ban and what is the implications of that. He is thinking over that because he is very much concerned about the evils of the social media for the below age children, below 16 years age children, because they're mentally they are disturbing, mentally they are not stable. In the recent crimes also, they noticed that several crimes which is minor children were included. They were because of the influence of the social media. That's what exactly that's what exactly thinking from the government side. Now have to see after he's returning from the Davos, they may come up with a framework on that and how to ban and what is the platforms to be banned, because now the entire technology, entire education itself is based on the social media also. So what to do and what not to do, they will come up with some pros and cons and some guidelines on the particular thing, Harish.
Yes, thank you, Ramana, for joining us with all those details. We'll have to see what kind of a legal framework Andhra Pradesh drafts to ensure that this ban can be implemented effectively in the state. Well, that's all we could pack in today's edition of Simply South. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories, but time to look at other news and updates with my colleague Haim.
Mr. President, this is Chandra. She comes from India. Can you give us an update on the India-US trade deal?
First of all, I have great respect for your Prime Minister. He's a fantastic man and friend of mine, and we're going to have a good deal.
He spoke to your channel and he said very clearly, Modi is a great man. I respect him tremendously, a fantastic man. He's a friend of mine, and we'll have a great deal.
You know, though it was just 2-3 sentences, what he said was significant. So perhaps we are closer to a deal than ever before. But clearly, he had very good things to say about Prime Minister Modi.
Hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Korsura. Thank you so much for staying with us. Here's a quick look at what we're tracking for you at this hour. Let's get started. CNN News 18 exclusive SIT probe into Tirupati Laddu scandal finds massive ghee adulteration, alleging toxic chemicals in the prasad. SIT probe over charge sheet soon. ED probe into Sabarimala gold theft uncovers years of systemic pilferage. Temple board records invoices and payments seized, exposing deep-rooted fraud on faith with private jewelers involved. High drama in the Karnataka Assembly over G. Chief Minister Sabarimala slams Governor Gehlot for skipping his speech, says Constitution has been violated. Ground staff member working at Bengaluru airport arrested after a Korean woman accuses him of sexually assaulting her on the pretext of a pat-down search despite her objections. Political sparring brews as Tharoor praises Gambhir and Prime Minister Modi calls their job the hardest. Gambhir responds sharply on authority debate, says truth and logic will become clear. Sena UBT hopes of having its mayor from ST category shot down, slams lack of rotation in the lottery system under which Mumbai is set to have women from open category as the next mayor. Andhra Pradesh mulls implementing the Australian model of social media ban for under 16s. Minister Nara Lokesh says children under the age need to be protected as they may not understand the content they are exposed to. In a money control mega exclusive, US President's biggest hint on trade deal yet, praises Prime Minister Modi as a friend and signals momentum on talks. ICC confirms men's T20 World Cup schedule intact. Bangladesh must play Group C matches in India or face replacement, puts Bangladesh on a 24-hour notice. Pakistan reports, media reports indicate that Pakistan may boycott the T20 World being hosted in India and Sri Lanka if ICC replaces Bangladesh with Scotland over their refusal to travel to India. All right, the Madhya Pradesh temple mosque dispute case in the Supreme Court. The SC has asked the Madhya Pradesh government ASI to ensure that barricading and arrangements are made tomorrow so that the Jummah Namaz and Basant Panchami Havan can be held at the same time as past practice, and separate entry-exit arrangements can be made as well. The Supreme Court has asked the Muslim community to give approximate number of persons to the DM, that preferably by today, so that passes can be issued for the same and that any arrangements are made so that law and order is not affected in this case. For more on this, we have Ananya live with us. Thank you so much for joining me, Ananya. What can you tell us?
Well, absolutely. The Supreme Court was hearing, in fact, a miscellaneous application as far as permission to actually hold the Basant Panchami Puja for the whole day at the Bhojshala temple complex. And very clearly at this particular juncture, the Supreme Court is, noting that the matter is sub judice before the Madhya Pradesh High Court, did not comment on the main matter, but very clearly has asked both the sides to actually go on with their prayers. One is, in fact, the Basant Panchami Puja that would be happening from sunrise to sunset tomorrow, while the namaz can be offered between 1 to 3 p.m. is what, in fact, the Supreme Court's interim arrangement has been as far as things are concerned. The Supreme Court has, appealed for tolerance being maintained and respecting each other's customs as well. But the major direction that comes to fore from the topmost of the country is to the Madhya Pradesh High Court, to which it has asked to hear this matter on, urgent basis. It has asked the MP High Court to set up a two-judges bench headed by the Chief Justice or the senior most judge of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, and has also asked the de-sealing of those reports as far as things are concerned. So very clearly at this juncture, what will happen before the Madhya Pradesh High Court is something that we have to wait and watch for. Very clearly at this point of time, this interim arrangement would actually continue.
Absolutely, Ananya. Thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. Do stay on with me though. Fresh revelations in the Noida drowning tragedy of 27-year-old Yuvraj Mehta, as the rescue officials at the time of rescue were heard saying that they cannot swim. CNN News 18 has exclusively accessed documents from 2023 that show that the Noida Fire Department ignored a crucial directive requiring all district fire chiefs to ensure their rescue personnel were properly trained in swimming. That directive was meant to prevent exactly these kind of lapses that resulted in the death of Yuvraj Mehta, where rescue teams were ill-prepared and failed to save him after his car plunged into a water-filled construction pit in Sector 115, Noida. The Enforcement Directorate has also removed senior Noida officials, and now Fire Chief Pradeep Chaubey faces tough questions as he is yet to respond to the charge that his department's negligence contributed directly to the young engineer's death. Meanwhile, a second FIR has been lodged at Knowledge Park Police Station in Noida in Yuvraj Mehta's death case as well.
This is the fire department of Noida in the sector 2. What you see behind me is the office of the fire department Noida here, and this is the only department that arrived on the unfortunate and that tragic night of 15th midnight when Yuvraj Mehta, the 27-year-old techie, had pleaded the department officials to save his life. Most of the officials here on that night, they said while his father watched him die, that they cannot enter the water as in fact it is too cold and there are iron rods that are present inside that water. This is a fire department official office where there is in fact the CFO who also sits here, CFO Pradeep Chaubey, Pradeep Kumar in fact, who sits here, and now it has been 6 days since Pradeep Kumar has not given a statement on what has happened after the death of Yuvraj Mehta has happened and shocked the nation. How could fire department not be equipped? There is also a letter that has been signed by the Uttar Pradesh Fire Department instructing all the officers across the state, the CFOs also and the deputy directors to give the training of swimming to all the concerned personnel in the department. These are questions that are still answered by the fire department. The CFO has not issued an official statement so far on these questions and the concerns that remain as is, as the SIT continues its investigation for the yet another day and is likely to submit the report soon.
All right, so this is the latest that we have right now. For more on this, we have Ananya live with us. And this particular case, the National Green Tribunal takes suo motu cognizance of Yuvraj Mehta's drowning in Noida. This is the latest that we're getting for you right now. The probe intensifies further. Ananya, of course, we are seeing how this entire tragedy has played out. We're talking about criminal negligence and civic apathy here. We're given to understand that we've also accessed these documents that show the Noida Fire Department had ignored these crucial directives which required all the chiefs to ensure their personnel were properly trained in swimming. And look at what's happened here.
Well, absolutely. In fact, the National Green Tribunal has taken suo motu cognizance of this particular issue and has now issued notices and sought responses from the Noida Authority, the Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board, the Irrigation Department, the Principal Secretary of Environment in the UP, and the District Magistrate of the Gautam Buddha Nagar area where this incident actually took place. And the responses have been directed to be submitted at least 1 week prior to the next date of hearing, that is the 10th of April. So before 1st April, all these responses need to be filed is what in fact, the NGT has directed. Very important step coming in from the National Green Tribunal. So we have to wait and watch how things pan out and what would these different departments of the UP government be saying before, in fact, the National Green Tribunal.
Absolutely. That being said, of course, the Enforcement Directorate has already removed senior Noida officials. Fire Chief Pradeep Chaubey faces tough questions, as well as he's yet to respond to the charge that his department's negligence contributed directly to Mehta's death. Ananya. All right, so these are the fresh revelations in the Noida drowning tragedy of Yuvraj Mehta. As the rescue officials at the time of the rescue operation were heard saying that they cannot swim. We played out that video for you earlier as well. CNN News 18 has now accessed exclusively these documents from 2023 that the Noida Fire Department had ignored a crucial directive which required all personnel to be trained in swimming. Of course, there have been a lot of political reactions to this as well. Let's listen to this.
सर, जो अभी लेटर लिखा गया है सीएम हाउस को एमएलए के तादरी एमएलए की साइड से, इस लेटर के क्या-क्या कंटेंट्स हैं, कौन-कौन से ऐसे विभाग हैं जिनका नाम भी लिया गया है और क्या नेग्लिजेंस है जो हाईलाइट की है?
एक्चुअली परसों हमारे माननीय विधायक से तेजपाल नागर जी गए थे पीड़ित के घर पे, कल भी गए थे, तो वहाँ के स्थानीय लोगों ने, उनके जो पेरेंट्स हैं, पिताजी हैं, उन्होंने बताया कि कुछ विभाग की लापरवाही रही है। तो हमारे माननीय विधायक जी ने लेटर लिखा है सीएम को, उसमें ये बोला है कि चाहे वो फायर विभाग हो, चाहे वो एनडीआरएफ हो, चाहे एसडीआरएफ हो, चाहे अथॉरिटी हो, जिसकी भी लापरवाही होगी उसके अगेंस्ट सख्त कार्रवाई की जाए। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने ये मांग किया है कि एक एनडीआरएफ और एसडीआरएफ की टीम हमारे गौतम बुद्ध नगर ग्रेटर नोएडा में एक टीम बनाई जाए, ताकि ऐसी कोई भी इमरजेंसी होने पे वो टीम जो बाहर से आती है, अभी जो टीम आई वो गाजियाबाद से आई थी, तो बाहर से ना आए, हमारे पास खुद की टीम हो अपने क्षेत्र में।
When India's holy shrines face allegations of corruption, faith itself comes under scrutiny. The question we're asking goes to the heart of faith and accountability. How did alleged corruption creep into India's most revered temples? From claims of systemic gold pilferage at Sabarimala to the shocking discovery of toxic adulteration at Tirupati's Laddu Prasadam, the trust of millions of devotees stands shaken. These are not just administrative failures, these raise disturbing questions about the safeguarding of sacred traditions. When devotion is allegedly exploited for profit, faith itself is put on trial. Now, in that we have fresh revelations as well, which have come to the fore in the Sabarimala temple gold loot case. The Enforcement Directorate has uncovered systemic pilferage, as I mentioned earlier, of sacred artifacts spanning several years. Raids across Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka have recovered incriminating records, including official papers that deliberately showed gold artifacts. These were shown as copper plates in the books. Documents seized also reveal invoices and payments made to the private jewelers for gold extraction, which was in some cases done through chemical processes between 2019 and 2024. This puts the Travancore Davison Board in the dock. The ED has frozen properties of the accused worth 1.3 crore rupees and seized 100-gram gold bar from a Chennai-based firm. The ED has said that the scam involved misappropriation of temple offerings and systemic irregularities. So, of course, as you can imagine, this is a breach of faith of the devotees. Amid uproar over Sabarimala gold theft case, Youth Congress protesting on this systemic Sabarimala gold loot issue. This is the latest that we're getting for you right now. Amid all this uproar over Sabarimala gold theft, the Youth Congress are protesting on the Sabarimala issue. You have to understand this is going to have a wider psychological impact as well. For more on this, we have Neetu Kumar, who is joining us live on the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me, Neetu. You have been bringing us all the developments on this front. What we're really seeing here, one, of course, is corruption, and as a result of that, a breach of faith of the people and the devotees.
That's correct. Corruption that is so rampant, because initially when it began as SIT High Court monitored SIT, it was looking 4.5 kg of gold. As the investigation started, they just realized that the route runs deeper, and it's not just that case. several arrests have been made by the investigating officers, including former Travancore Devasam Board presidents and accomplished officials of the Travancore Devasam Board. Not just this, the Tantri, the chief priest of the temple, has also been arrested. That has also become has come as a huge shock to the devotees. The devotees consider the Tantri as someone next to God, and in the concept of Lord Ayyappa, he is the father figure of Lord Ayyappa. So that was also quite shocking. Now, the opposition has been demanding the resignation of Devasam minister over this. Inside the assembly also, we saw the opposition raising slogans and placards and raising slogans inside the assembly, and they walked out. The session was adjourned for the day. Now, outside, we are seeing that youth Congress workers are taking out a protest march, raising these issues, and we can see that several rounds of water cannons were used on these workers when they were taking out this protest march.
Absolutely, we are getting the visuals of the protest as well, and of course the anger is palpable among the people and across party lines as well in this entire case, given the fact that this also comes ahead of the crucial polls. When we talk about the psychological impact of this, of course this does chip away at the faith of the devotees and the people in general. Going forward though, how do you see the political ramifications of this?
See, this is a state which will be witnessing having the elections, the assembly elections within a month or two. So definitely Sabarimala is an issue which has which is an emotion for the people, also for the devotees. So this issue will be one of the major poll planks in this assembly elections, and the LDF government had been in the defensive, had been in the back foot as far as this issue is concerned till now. But with the arrest of the Tantri and with the Enforcement Directorate making its move, and even when the Enforcement Directorate raided the houses of all other accused but not of the Tantri, and some BJP leaders went to visit the Tantri's family after he was arrested. So that politically the CPIM and the LDF is trying to use this, stating that ED is being brought in to divert the attention, especially when it comes to the SIT, which is investigating the case at this moment. So this is how the political blame game will continue, but definitely the Congress and the UDF upping their ante.
Stay with me, please. We'll continue to discuss this and the implications of this going forward as well. But it's also very important to understand other elements of this case. Why is the temple board under the lens? That's something that's important to note in this case. We're talking about the TDP. That is important. It is the Travancore Devasam board that we're talking about under the ED scrutiny. This is over linked irregularities. There have been serious discrepancies which have come to the fore found in use of funds by the TDB. Discrepancies were also found in donations and sponsorships. The seized documents reveal, and just in case you thought this couldn't get any worse, irregularities even in the temple offerings. So we're talking about the holiest shrines of our country, and how did corruption here creep in? Because you have to understand, this is a systemic and concerted effort that we're looking at here that has spanned over years. There have been jewelers involved, of course, members of the board. There is no other way this could have happened for so long. We are looking at systemic pilferage. These are important questions, viewers, that we're asking right now. We're talking about the holy shrines of our country. What we're looking at here is why the temple board is also under scrutiny in this particular case, because there have been multiple discrepancies by way of this exhaustive probe that have come to the fore. The question that we are asking is, when India's holy shrines face allegations of corruption, faith, of course, itself comes under scrutiny. And this is, is also not the only case. In another CNN News 18 exclusive, the SIT has completed its investigation in the Tirupati Temple Prasadam adulteration case as well. As per the sources, the probe agency had found massive adulteration in the ghee that is used for the sacred offerings in Tirupati as well. According to the report, the purity of the Laddu, considered holy by millions of devotees, was compromised on a large scale. The investigation points once again, even in this case, to systemic irregularities and deliberate adulteration, with the charge sheet expected to be filed sometime soon. We're of course going to wait for more information on that as well. But what we're given to understand here is that there were earlier concerns of perhaps animal fat being used in this adulterated ghee. That sort of concern has been quelled for now. What we do know is that there were other toxic chemical compounds, which is of course not great news for anyone. The SIT has exposed this toxic scam, the adulteration fake ghee, which was supplied to Tirumala over 5 years. We're talking about a span from 2019 to 2024. Primary accused Bhole Baba Dairy made synthetic ghee from vegetable oils. Ingredients used adulterated ghee, a mixture of palm oil, palm kernel oil, palm olein. So this was the composition of this adulterated ghee that we're looking at. The scale of fraud is to the tune of 68 lakh kilograms of adulterated ghee worth rupees 250 crores that was supplied. Bypassing checks, suppliers, it tampered with chemical values to bypass quality tests. This is how they were able to supply this ghee for so long, which is used in the offerings by the devotees. Modus operandi, blacklisted, firm supplied adulterated ghee via proxy suppliers. That's a very important point to note here as well. The larger nexus alleged that there's a nexus between the suppliers, of course, and Tirumala officials. Once again, we are looking at systemic lapses here. Officials have received kickbacks to approve substandard supplies. For more on this, we have Arunima live with us. Arunima, what we're looking at is this toxic mix that was then passed on as ghee, which was used in the offerings by the devotees here. Once again, a question on how this could be allowed and how this is a breach of faith of the devotees.
See, even otherwise, if this was not a temple prasadam, even
Absolutely.
then you are playing with the lives of people because you're endangering their health, you're putting their well-being at risk. But add to that the fact that these are people who had come to Tirupati, Tirumala and taking that prasadam with the faith that this was God's, blessings for them. So you're not just endangering their life, you're also committing the added crime of putting their faith at risk. SIT has come to the conclusion, and the charge sheet is likely very soon. It could be next week or in the next 10 days or so. So SIT has come to the conclusion that this was happening in collusion with the board members. Then General Manager Procurement is in custody. He's likely to be named in that. Chemical suppliers from Delhi and other parts of the country, some of whom have been arrested, who allegedly provided the chemical that was used to make the prasadam look like it was made out of ghee. All those suppliers are going to be named as well. There could be some disciplinary action recommended against some board members too. And the state government could be asked by SIT, there is a likelihood to carry out an audit of all temples where the same set of suppliers, the same set of dairies provide material for the prasadam.
Absolutely, Arunima, you're right. Of course, who knows what sort of an impact this could have or has had on the devotees who perhaps have consumed this toxic mix. Of course, we'll continue to keep a focus on that and bring you all the updates and developments as and when they come. And let's shift our focus for now. After Tamil Nadu and Kerala, it's Karnataka that's witnessing another political showdown between the government and the governor. Karnataka Governor Gehlot today refused to address a joint session of the state legislature and refused to read the speech portions critical of centre over the contentious new G Ramji scheme, following which he staged a walkout from the assembly. Ruckus, chaotic scenes played out as Congress MLAs flared up in anger. Congress MLA B.K. Hariprasad even tried to block the governor from exiting the assembly. That's the sort of drama that we saw play out in the Karnataka assembly.
ರಾಜ್ಯಪಾಲರು ಅವರು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ಓದಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಏನು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಸಚಿವ ಸಂಪುಟ ಏನು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಭಾಷಣ, ಆ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನು ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತು ಜಂಟಿ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ ಕರೆಯಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ವರ್ಷ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಜಂಟಿ ಅಧಿವೇಶನ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಧಿವೇಶನವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಕರೆದಿದೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಭರವಸೆ ಯೋಜನೆ ಅದನ್ನು ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಪೀಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿ ರಾಮ್ ಜಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. What His Excellency Governor has done today is right. He has taken the right decision. He has done his duty. Whereas the ruling Congress government insulting governor is not correct. Ruling party MLA, MLCs trying to attack His Excellency is totally unconstitutional. So I demand Honorable Chief Minister Siddaramaiah should seek apology regarding the attitude of the ruling MLA and MLCs, and he should also take strict action. Speaker should also look into the matter. He should take action against those MLA and MLCs who are trying to stop and who are trying to attack governor. Secondly, why this situation has arisen in Karnataka today?
Sir, the governor deciding to skip the whole speech and just saying that he's happy to address the House and leaving. How do you see this, sir? Perhaps unprecedented for the Karnataka Assembly.
Karnataka Assembly had never seen these kind of things. And governor stooping to this level under the pressure of the BJP and the Modi government is very unfortunate. The BJP will try and weaken the democracy to this level is what should not have been done.
Will you pass a resolution now?
Of course, he has violated the constitution. He has thrown the procedures to the wind. He has weakened the democracy under the BJP's pressure. Definitely we will work out all the options.
All right, for more on this, we have Harish with us. Harish, thank you so much for joining me. As we see this row intensify further, we've heard, of course, the arguments from both sides. What happens going forward is the big question.
Well, just a while ago, speaking to the media, you had Priyank Kharge saying that the government will look at options. He's saying that there will be ramifications when national anthem is disrespected, and the government will also look at the possibility of passing a resolution against the Governor's Act. That is something that will become clear in the coming few days. Remember, the session will start discussing the entire speech, or at least the speech that was prepared by the state government for Governor, because remember, that was in a way tabled on the floor of the House. That has to be discussed, and the Chief Minister will have to talk about it and finally respond to that entire discussion. That will play out over the next few days. But what it has essentially led to is it's given